There is a story about a Chinese bank robber who operated his business in Central California in about early 1900s. He was so successful what he was doing. He was the most wanted man in the state. And one afternoon, police spotted him, so he quickly pulled out his gun and aimed at his head and said, "I know who you are, Qin Pao. I've come to get you. Get all the money you stolen from the banks of California. If you don't tell me where you hid your money, then I'm gonna blow your brains out." And the problem is, Qin Pao could not speak English, and the police could not speak Chinese. So if there is some sort of interpretation or translation take place, the man's brain is gonna be blown out. At that moment, a Chinese merchant lady stopped and said to the police officer, "I am bilingual, and would you like to me act as a translator?" And the police nodded. And she translated what the police had said to Qin. And Qin got so frightened, and he told this Chinese translator, "Please tell him quickly if he will go down to the city and then facing north, take 10 steps. Underneath there is all the money that I've stolen from the banks of California, and I haven't spent a dime of it. Please tell him quickly. I don't want to die." And the translator, she had this solemn look on her face and said, "Officer, Qin Pao is a very honest, brave man. He said he's now ready to die." I don't know what happened there. You can guess what she was thinking. But translation was a big problem for Qin Pao's life and in the future. Likewise, translation was big trouble for Christians in Galatia. And they got the gospel of Jesus right. But along the way, somebody translated differently. And somebody was forcing them, persuading them to keep the law, to be saved, and to be justified, to be sanctified, and to receive salvation. That's why Apostle Paul says what? "Don't you know that you were saved by faith in Jesus Christ, in God's grace? Don't you know the Spirit of living God lives within you, testifies God's love and grace for you? That's how you receive the salvation. What on earth are you doing? Are you going backwards?" And the same question the Apostle Paul can ask us sometimes. Sometimes we often do not remember the fundamentals, the bottom line, basic, core value of Christianity. Can I stop it here? Whose dog is that? No, Piggy never barks. I left her home. If you're gonna bring the dogs here, who brought Bandit here? Please go out, take him. I cannot, you hear barking. It's distracting me, it's distracting you. Dogs are good. They are the man's best friend, but there is a right place. Yeah? If it's quiet, that's one thing. If it's not, that's the other thing. All right. Where was I? You don't know. We got distracted. So Paul says, don't you know the basics? So we want to live God's full blessing, under God's full blessing. So we want to remember what was the bottom line, what was the basic fundamentals, and then ponder upon how to live under God's full blessing. And Paul already said it's a faith, it's a spirit, testify that, and it's God's grace. So that's the three things that we're going to focus on this morning. Amen? Amen? So let's read verse 1, what he said. Oh, foolish you, foolish Galatians. Please read.
Foolish Galatians, who has bewitched you? Before your very eyes, Christ was severely betrayed and crucified. I would like to learn just one thing from you. Did you receive the Spirit by observing the law, or by believing what you heard? Are you so foolish?
Where are you going? I said only verse 1. I knew that is not that long. You foolish Galatians! Right? Before your very own eyes, that Jesus was portrayed as crucified. Don't you know? You know, these Galatians are written about 30 years after the crucifixion. So if you are older than 30 years, you've been through it. You were witnessing you witnessed all the crucifixion, the gospel of Jesus Christ. If you are about 60 years old, you know for sure. You saw with your own eyes. And yet, they were trying to force the issue of keeping the laws. The thing that happened is that these are the Jewish Christian community. So there was Gentiles coming into the faith community with just the ABC. I admit I'm a sinner and believe Jesus and commit to follow. And the Jewish Christians looked at them, what on earth? You're too easy to come in to be God's family. We went through circumcision, we went through the book of Deuteronomy, Leviticus, and everything. We have to keep the law, and then plus accepted Jesus. It's like nowadays, we say ABC is too easy. You got to go through the confirmation. You got to memorize the Westminster Catechism, and you got to take a test in order to become a Christian. That's what they were doing in those times. And then Apostle Paul said, don't you know that you accepted Jesus, God's grace, manifested on the cross by faith? So live by faith, walk by faith. And a lot of times we make mistakes to mistranslate saved by faith. And what it means to walk by faith. There is a book called Take This Job and Love It. In there, the guy's name Ethan. And Ethan was one of the best managers